Hi everybody. I didn't want this day to get away since it's September 1st to not participate in the weight loss tag that has been presented by Perforce on her YouTube channel. And the theme of this tag is Self-Love September. As I was watching her videos and listening to her ideas, it really hit home to me that this is a tag that I could actually participate in. Even though I haven't been able to get my surgery yet, I'm still in the preoperative stages. I do think that this is an important thing to think about and to work on. I think the crux of this Self-Love September is to deal with emotions and things that we're going through, and what do we want to do to work through those issues and make it a goal for the month of September. And the idea behind is to set up 1 to 3 goals that you want to work on. If you're already had your surgery, it could be anything that's challenging you, anything that you're going through, either physically or emotionally. And if you're pre-op like I am, what are you going through? What are you experiencing? What are the thoughts and feelings? And how do they affect your emotions? And how can you turn it around to take better care of yourself and the better care of your emotional stability? And excuse me, I think I'm catching a cold, so sorry if my voice sounds funny. So I was thinking about what goal. I'm only going to set one goal, but I think that the one goal, or the one thing that has been bothering me the most in the last month, particularly August was a hard month for me, is feelings, emotions that I let things that are completely out of my control control the way I feel. Such as I've been, setting myself up for this surgery. Anybody who's gone through it, there's so many hoops to jump through and steps that you have to take, and there's a lot of waiting and wondering, and then maybe disappointment, and you have to start over, or whatever comes up. There's always some curveball that you're being thrown. And those are things that are completely out of our control. We can do what we're told, we can do the best that we can, but we have no control over whether insurance is going to accept something, or whether the doctor, thinks that what we're doing is good enough, or maybe there's another appointment we have to take, and we just have to do it. We kind of have no control over it. And I've been going through that a lot lately, and letting those things dictate how my emotions are. So I was thinking about the steps that I go through when these things that are out of my control, and it doesn't even have to be about the surgery. It could be, things pile on top of each other. So I'm upset about how things are going with the progress on my surgery, and then something at work affects me, and that's compounding now how I'm already feeling, and something happens at home that's frustrating or upsetting, and that compounds it even more. And maybe I get on Facebook and see some sort of foolishness somebody writes, and it affects me once again, and pretty soon all of these things are affecting you. You have no control over any of them, and how you deal with it is usually not real positive. It's not full of self-love, that's for sure. So I was trying to kind of break it down, and I think the first feeling I have after I lose control of a situation is I feel hopeless. I feel kind of like this little dark cloud starts to form over my head, and I start to feel maybe helpless, like because I can't do anything about it. But in my mind, I'm the fix-it person, so I want to change it. And then those feelings bring on anxiety. I start to feel anxious because everything's bothering me now. The dishes aren't done, that's bothering me. The dogs need to be brushed, that's bothering me. I've got to get into something done at work that I haven't done yet, or I'm not meeting goals and expectations there. oh, I don't know, my son says something just the wrong way and I fire off at him. And there's no reason for it because it's all these other things that are beating me up. I find that my mood starts to diminish. And then it goes kind of into a mild depressiveness. And then I usually give in to that mood. And something pretty great has to happen to lift me out of it, at least for a couple of days until I work my way through it. It's really frustrating. Oh, my dogs are playing, sorry. So, with that being said, I had an example. You know, I've been struggling with trying to get a surgery date, and I've got everything done except for the sleep apnea thing, sleep study, the CPAP machine that I'm supposed to get, and I've been really fighting with the insurance company a little bit. Well, I haven't really, but they are. The doctor said that it was mild sleep apnea. Insurance company said, well, it's not that big of a deal, then we don't need to get her a CPAP machine. We're not going to pay for it. And so then they had to resubmit more information that they should have submitted in the first place. And now it'll take another 7 to 10 business days. And then on top of that, while I'm waiting for that to happen and knowing that I have to use the thing for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, before I know if I'm okay for surgery, I haven't had any contact with the surgeon's office since July 7th. And I finally got kind of worried. You know, I don't know, just like I felt disconnected. So I told them that. I called them. And I actually talked to the nurse and the coordinator today. And they were like, no, you know, we still have you in our system. We're still working. These things just take time. You have to be patient. And so I was able to pin her down just a little bit, like, well, let's say all scenarios look good. Let's say by the end of this month, I'm cleared for surgery. And that's the last thing that I needed was the results on the CPAP. What am I looking at? How soon am I looking at surgery? And she said, November. So, it's like the first time I've ever heard a date at all. So it gave me I started to feel a little bit of stress about that because that's getting really close to the end of the year, and I still want to make sure I get this done before the end of the year. Once again, for insurance and out-of-pocket costs and deductibles. But then I started to find myself going through those hopeless, helpless feelings, feeling anxious. It was affecting, because I had to go back to work after this, and it was affecting how I was interacting with other people. And then something clicked in my head, and I was remembering this challenge, this tag. It's not really a challenge, but this tag, and I thought this is a perfect example of me not being good to myself, me letting things get out of my control. And they're going to be, lots of things are going to be out of my control, but the only thing I have control over is how I react to it. And so I started to do the Pollyanna thing, where what's something positive about this, and all I could come up with was, hey, I might have my surgery in November, and that's awesome, and that's not a guess. That was an educated guess by a professional who's done this lots of times. And so with that, I felt my spirit start to lift, and I felt, I could look forward to the weekend. So we're coming up on a holiday weekend, and 3 days off, which will be great. And my husband came home last night. He works out of town most of the time, and today we went out to dinner, and he said, well, let's do something. And so kind of looking forward to it. Tomorrow when I get off work, he's going to just pick me up there, and we're going to head out of town, and we're going to go to this little town called Baker City and spend the night there. And this is in Oregon. And then we're going to, on Saturday, go to this little tiny town up in the woods in Oregon called Sumter. And every year, 3 times a year, they have a citywide swap meet, kind of like food vendors and businesses and all kinds of stuff, and the whole town is set up that way, and it's really rinky-dinky. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a fun little adventure for us, and plus we get out of the desert into the mountains, and I really, really look forward to that. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm going to just try to relax and not let all of these things stress me out, and just enjoy it. So I'd like to tag anybody here who's watching this video and took the time to do so to check out Perforce and what her Self-Love September tag is all about, or you can let me know what you did. I'd love to hear in the comments below if you joined in on this. Well, that's about all I have for tonight. I'm kind of sneaking this video in here before I get caught by my son or my husband, but I didn't want the week to go without touching base with you guys and letting you know what my plans are. So with that being said, the dog's here. Let's say hi. Let's say hi, everybody. Come here, Copper. Come here, Copper. Oh, yes. That's Copper. Yes. He's a good boy. He's a good, pretty boy. Yeah. And come here, Ozzy. Come here, Ozzy. Oh, my goodness. You guys are so big. So anyway, you guys have a great evening, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.